What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Third and Longhorn. We have a very distinguished guest in the house today. She was the first person to bring home hardware in the SEC, and she actually shared it with us on our signing day show. But not only that, she brought another in here that we'll get into in a second. But please welcome Texas women's soccer coach Ange Kelly.
Let's go, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. And before we get into this, because we'll cover the trophy second, I want to get into my question that I always ask. Obviously, you had a different road here, coming from that other orange school with the T in it. But how did you get to Texas?
Well, I think many people that have sat here and that you've interviewed have said when Texas calls, you answer that call. And that's exactly what happened. And I had an unbelievable mentor in my life. I still think and hear her speak in my professional mind every day. But Pat Summitt at the University of Tennessee took me under her wing for 16 years. And she was not well at the time. And I said, Pat, Texas has called and wants me to come on an interview. And she said, well, shoot. and I said, well, what does that mean exactly? She's like, you have to go. Don't make any decision while you're there. Come back and speak to me before you make any decision. And had a wonderful time, and obviously this place speaks for itself. Flew back, went straight to her house, and her son Tyler and their dogs and Coach Summitt, we sat in her living room, and she started crying, and she told me this is where I needed to be. And I said, well, I don't have to go. She's like, you have to go. Texas is the place where you will be able to coach the highest level player in your game. And lo and behold, she was right again.
That's absolutely incredible. Well, explain to us the meaning of this and Amalia Villarreal's winning the SEC Freshman of the Year.
So that's an unbelievable, beautiful trophy that we were able to be given. I didn't bring the big version just because it's pretty hefty.
This thing's pretty heavy too.
Right.
So Amalia, and we've been blessed with a lot of really talented players in our recruiting process, top recruiting classes, and specifically over the past 6 years. And I think in the Big 12 we had a run of top classes and Big 12 Freshmen of the Year, Players of the Year, and we were able to continue that on this year. With the tradition of having the SEC Freshman Player of the Year in Amalia Villarreal. And this isn't in her apartment because she has asked me to keep it in my office. And so today I took the privilege of bringing it onto the set. So that's awesome. But we're so proud of her and the success that she had and her contributions to our team to step up after the injury to Trinity Byers, and for her to step up and play much bigger than a freshman. This is so well deserved.
That is incredible. Now, you've already stacked up some of the hardware going into the SEC in the first year that Texas makes that transition, but I want to go back to your playing days, right? Let's get to know Coach Kelly whenever you were the one bringing in the hardware at UNC, right? Talk about the team that you were a part of for those 4 years, the record 97-1-1, 92 consecutive wins, which still stands as the D1 record in the NCAA for most consecutive wins.
That's insane.
What was that like, and how do you not, in the words of AO, how do you not slip up? Like, none of the girls went out the night before and still were able to come away with a win, 92 straight?
Yeah, it was just a tremendous period of time. And you've heard a lot of people say, and the Super Bowl this weekend, greatness breeds greatness, and you win with great people, and that resonated with me when I heard the post-game interviews the other evening. we were surrounded by greatness. We had a world-class coach that was a tremendous motivator, put us in competitive environments, and all he had to do was poke us and keep poking us. And another thing, speaking off the Super Bowl, is there was probably 90% of this viewership didn't want Kansas City to win, right?
Right.
And that's fair. True. I get it. I get it. That's why the fan is short for fanatic, and we all love to watch, right? But as our generation, and in that period of time at the University of North Carolina, we got a lot of that, right? Oh, they're not going to win again, or that's boring. Somebody else has to win. So when I was hearing people say that about Kansas City, it's actually a compliment to Kansas City, right? And it's a compliment to what they had put forth thus far. Now, the game went a different way. C'est la vie. There's teaching moments in that as well. We were fortunate when teams did give us their best shot, which we had every afternoon, every evening. To answer your question, enough competitiveness, enough steadfastness, enough never say die attitude, just a refusal to lose, and more importantly, just the ascension to win. And we just weren't going to take it any other way. And I just think it comes down to the people, the competitive spirit, and your will and your desire.
Because you talked about competition a lot, and in one of the stories actually prior to this interview, you were talking about a story about your competitive juices coming out a little bit. Did you fall in love with being a competitor first, or with the sport of soccer first?
I think I was at a young age. I started playing the game at 4. My dad played at a high level over in Scotland, and it was like background music in my home, right? From the time I was a baby, it was on. Right now we call it the EPL, but it was some sort of soccer everywhere, football in Europe, if you will. But so watching my dad play and just loved the game. Now, was I a competitor first? I think that goes into the question of are you born competitive, or do you develop a competitor? And I think there has to be some fibers that are innate within individual's soul that has all of those attributes that I just spoke about. Just a refusal to lose, and just a steadfastness to just keep going. And there was lots of times, in those moments at North Carolina or in my career, where you just will the ball to go in a different direction. I know all of you guys in your sport, it's just inches, right? You just will the ball to go a little further. I believe that's energy. And energy, I always tell our players, is real. Energy is real. And when you can manifest it into a positive realm, loads and loads of great things can happen. So was I a competitor first, or was I a soccer player? I think my parents created someone that had a little bit of that in their soul.
So on the North Carolina team, you had players like Mia Hamm, Christine Lilly, Tisha Venturini. Venturini. What did those practices look like? You talk about greatness breeds greatness. That's good. And Rod's talking about the competitiveness within you. Could you give us a sneak peek at what those practices look like?
Yeah, those are my dearest friends. I was actually just able to spend some time with all of them this weekend, and 30, I don't want to date us, lots of years ago, a few years ago.
There we go.
A few years ago, and we're still like the best of friends, right? You don't get to choose your family, but you get to choose your friends, and the players that you just mentioned, the people on that paper, make me better every day and have helped me through the ups and downs of life, and just incredibly special to me as human beings. As competitors, you don't want to face them. You don't want to face them. Tish and I played the same position in the center of the park in midfield, and oftentimes Anson would have us battling against one another, and we always played in a competitive environment 1v1, and we'd come off the field, and Anson often speaks about this. We'd have scratches all over our neck, over our arms, and we'd just tear into one another. And then we'd walk off the field and say, "Hey, you want to go get a bagel?" Or, but we knew, like, we got excited about that, and I think that's where greatness sharpens greatness. When you can get a group of individuals that, I don't know how many parents sit in my office and say, "Coach, you're getting the most competitive young lady that you've ever seen." And I said, "Yeah, I have 18 other ones over here." Let's see how she does, right? It's true. And, funny enough, as it goes, the cream still rises to the top. Yeah. Well, on any given day on our squad, it was a different person at the time. And the other two that you mentioned, Mia Hamm has carried this game in this country and in the world. She does so much behind the scenes with FIFA and for the women's game and just the game in general. She's done it so professionally and so quietly, and she's just the consummate professional. And everybody that plays the game of soccer around the world, specifically in the women's game, need to be grateful for Mia Hamm. Sure. She was the best goal scorer that I ever played with. Christine Lilly, box to box. I haven't seen anyone in the world give her a hard time. There was this one young lady from Norway, Hege Risa, that I was like, "Ooh, Lil, you got to pull up your socks a little bit." She's getting in on you. But box to box, consummate two-sided player, Christine Lilly, and Tisha goes down as just one of the most technical, gifted, talented players. It just looks so effortless for her on the ball. But then you put all of those attributes that I just spoke in that sentence. Every coach in America wants down their spine that type of player, right? A goal scorer, a box-to-box midfielder, and a technical, proficient player that can put the ball in the back of the net that's great in the air, and that's what we had. I played the defensive midfielder behind that spine, and I would walk off the field, and I'd dirt if we had a white strip on, I'd dirt head to toe, and I'm standing beside Tisha, and we're in a photo, and she's the technical player. She's I mean, just clean as anything. We laugh about it now. I'm like, "Tish, were you in this game?" She's like, "Yeah, I scored 3. Okay. And I'm just all haggard, and but it takes everybody to do their role, as you guys know, and once again, that's what made us great.
Now, talk about how you now scout that type of chemistry, that type of talent. You mentioned you got 18 other girls ready, chomping at the bit with that competitive nature and those juices. But from your perspective, you lived it. So you know exactly what success looks like, right? 4-time national champion while you were there, back to back to back to back. 4P. What does it look like whenever you're on the road now, especially with NIL, distractions on cell phones and social media? You got agents all in one ear with all the other thing. Like, what does it look like trying to find what you four had in Chapel Hill?
Well, I really like what Michael Taft was just talking about, just putting on the blinders and being focused. And I think when it comes right down to it, the players don't want the chaos. They love the game. And so if they can be surrounded with a quality group of individuals that also want their dreams and passions for them, maybe they can help protect them a little bit, especially at a younger age. But when I walk up to the pitch, and I've said this, lots of parents ask me this question, I want to walk up to the pitch. I don't want to see a piece of paper that tells me who the national team players are. I'm not interested in any of that. On the first day of any event, I don't have my staff say, "Hey, these are our targeted players," and although I know who they are, if we've already seen them, I like to walk up and see who's going to be, and this is the key word for me, a factor. Right? A factor in their team's success. I get most excited when it's a day like today in Austin, Texas. Very, very rare. The sun isn't out and it's raining, right? We're all grateful for these types of days, but it doesn't happen here much. But when it's rainy, when it's 30-mile-an-hour winds, when it's, maybe 30 degrees, right? lots of players can then hide. They're talented, but this isn't fun. This is too cold. And the ones that once again rise to the top, that show up on that pitch because they refused to let their teammates down, refused to let themselves down. Those are the players that I'm looking for. Now, when all's shiny and it's 75 degrees and it's a wonderful pitch and everything's good, it's, who can combine with their teammates, who can make everybody else around them look better, who can will the ball in the back of the net, who can get stuck in a tackle. There's many, many different ways in our game to be a factor, right? And sometimes it's positional, but a lot of times for me, because those are the characteristics that I embodied, I can sense it, right? I can look. That kid has it, that kid gets it, that kid wants it, that kid has it. So I like to do that in the recruiting process. And then as we all do our homework. Then it's about who surrounds them. It's about how much noise is allowed in their ear. And in the NIL space, I think for us, it can't be a distraction. And they're here to get a 4-year degree, to win championships, right? Which I'm very pleased that we just had 8 players sign professional contracts around the world, 2 of the highest in America, and they have 4-year degrees. Wow. And I'm glad that came up in our conversation, because that's something that a lot of coaches in America in our specific sport, lots of sports, but we're talking about soccer, can't say right now, right? So now I know, whether it's in Italy, whether it's over in Denmark, whether it's here in America, I know that our players they're prepared, they're ready, and God forbid there's an injury, or they decide they don't enjoy the game in that moment, they're okay. They have a life insurance policy, which I call a college degree at the University of Texas.
There you go.
And that's a 40-year commitment, right? Absolutely. That's a 40-year commitment. And I hope they play for 15, 20 years. I really, really do. And that's what we're preparing all our players to play. But it's really, really important that if it's not life-changing money that you're signing for in our sport, what's going to happen if something doesn't go your way, right? And what are you going to fall back on? And if these contracts are willing to pay the $500,000 for the college degree, then maybe you have a decision. But before all that, I just want them to be the best version of themselves as an individual. I want them to get their a 3.62 cumulative GPA that our team had. And I want us to win SEC titles and national titles. That's what we're here for. So, I feel really good about the fact that I can say that to all of you today.
Hey, Coach, soccer is an international sport, of course. Unlike American football, a lot of their traditional recruiting, of course, is regional, based on fertile recruiting grounds here in the USA. Are there fertile recruiting areas around the world that you look at specifically to pick players, or are you just looking for the best players no matter where they are, because it's such a wide net, because it's an international sport?
So we're blessed with the ability with our resources to be able to go anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Historically, thanks to the Mia Hamms, the Christine Lillys, the Tish Venturinis of the world, the U.S. women's team has been the perennial #1 team in the world. Okay, the rest of the world in the women's side is catching up, but the U.S. has been the top. And within that, and you guys aren't going to be surprised, I could quiz all of you right now. If I were to ask you, where do you think the most fertile place in America? We'll play this game, you and I. Okay, where do you think the best women's soccer players come from in the United States of America?
Oh, man, that's good. I'm going to go, it's tough. I'm going to go Cali. Cali.
Okay. I'm going to have to say somewhere on the East Coast. The Carolinas.
That's a good one.
I don't know. Somewhere along the East Coast.
Just growing up with a sister who played and a bunch of nieces who played, I'm going to say Texas.
I'm going Texas just because I live in Texas. What's up?
Okay, and I'm not even being partial here, but what city in Texas do you think?
Dallas.
I'd say Houston.
Okay, so
DFW?
I mean, dude, it's pretty like.
Wow.
I mean, I just know
DFW.
on the guys' side, like Weston McKinney, a lot of these like big time players came from
So
Dallas,
you
and
have
the programs are
Mia
huge.
Hamm, Carla Overbeck. You just go down the list of the U.S. national team stars, the captains, and it's so funny. And nobody's done a story on this yet. But if you look at the best historic players in the world, right? Mia's been the FIFA Player of the World like 9 times, right? So
crazy.
right. There's like 60% of them come from Dallas, Texas.
Well, do you think it's because I know they have like there are those programs, right? Like there are the various club teams that play there that have put out so many players, and even like the Dallas men's MLS team has put like their development system with like Pepe and some of these guys has been just huge. Is it the club system that develops so well, or what is it?
You know, I was just having this conversation with my friends this weekend. It's so interesting. There's quality coaches all over America. And I have to say this because there's going to be some young ladies from California and
Get political. I like it.
and New Jersey
We love
and
you
the
all.
Carolinas.
You all belong in Texas.
Yeah, and the Northwest. There's talented players in the U.S. There's thousands and millions of players playing soccer, but. Where was my train of thought there? Dallas. But from Dallas and these other pockets, there's collectively a handful. Dallas has quality coaches. California has quality coaches. PDA, New Jersey, they have quality coaches. It's something in the water. Honestly, it's Houston has quality coaches. There's quality coaches everywhere. Just the density of the teams. There's a lot of club teams within that 20-mile radius, and they just do a tremendous job. And I think back to our initial point, greatness sharpens greatness. So when you step up onto the pitch and you go onto one of these top clubs, you kind of carry yourself. It's like going onto a nice golf course, right? Yeah. You start to carry yourself a little bit. I got to play a little bit better. I got to, and that's how I think that's what happens in Dallas.
Well, let's keep talking about Dallas because obviously we had a really special player here, Lexi Misamo, who was absolutely incredible. I think she grabbed a lot of people's attention with how she played, and she's gone to Dallas now. Like, talk a little bit about her as a player and just what that means, and her going to the next level and what that means for you and your program.
Yeah, she signed a tremendous contract with Trinity FC up in Dallas in the USL. She's very, very excited. Obviously, there was a lot of clubs that were vying for her. I think she made the best decision for herself and her development. What Lexi did for the record books here at Texas is bar none. And she was, a MVP in the conference in the Big 12, and she was huge in what we did, instrumental in coming back and what we did this past fall. She broke the record book. Her and Trinity Byers broke the record books in Dallas from the Solar Soccer Club, broke the record books in club. They were able to do it, breaking the record books, each of them in the top 5 nationally in any offensive stat that you look at. And they chose to come to the University of Texas, right? When the Blue Bloods at the time, the North Carolinas, the Stanfords, you go down the list, and it wasn't the cool thing to do. And it was 12 years ago, actually. It wasn't just 4 years ago. It was 12 years ago when you could commit early. Lexi and Trinity were 12 years or 10 years old and committed to come to the University of Texas. Started coming to when I arrived on campus, started coming to our camps. Lexi's father and I were classmates at the University of North Carolina. Awesome. And then as soon as they were going into 9th grade, they both decided that they wanted to blaze this path. They could have went to North Carolina and been just one of another one, and they wanted to come and go write their name in the record books, and that's exactly what they've done. And I credit them. People tried to get them to go pro and skip college, and after their freshman year, sophomore, it was actually this senior year that I actually saw them. like there's not anywhere else that I need to go. I get to enjoy this place. And then I'm not going to stop anytime I have an opportunity to say it. And they have their college degree.
Let's go.
Man,
I love
that's
it.
right.
go.
Get the team
Right?
in, baby.
So they're set.
Yeah.
They're set. Trinity Byers is in San Diego Wave. We have Mia Justice in Utah. We have Lexi up in Dallas. We have our Lapo is over in Italy. So proud of her. You know, Maddie Hagen is in Portugal. So we just go down the list, and just so incredibly proud of what that group has done for the University of Texas women's soccer.
That's incredible.
Talk about the breakdown of how scholarships work on the women's side. You just talked about she could commit at 10 years old.
That's amazing.
Coming into it. And then obviously the special nature of your emphasis of making sure they get a degree. But what does it look like from a structure standpoint? And I know some of those things may even change as we continue to move forward. But what does it look like as football players, you know, it's certain number of scholarships and you get full ride. Everybody full ride, certain number of scholarships. Is that the same? How does it transition with the women's soccer?
So we are equivalency, so we're not full head count is what they reference it as. And I think it's 85 in football, and right now we're at 14. So there's 14 scholarships that we can split up amongst a roster of anywhere from 26 to 30. There had been no cap on our roster, and we all know about the roster cap. So across the board, every sport now has that cap. I knew that was coming down the pike this spring because Chris Del Conte is the best athletic director in the country.
Hello.
Sir,
And he keeps us informed where he can, and we all know that things are changing every day, but he is absolutely the best. So when we had heard that these were coming down the pipe, I wasn't going to be the coach to have to or be in the situation where I was going to have to cut people or tell people. I didn't want to do that. I'm very loyal. I'm very committed to the players that are committed to us. I'm invested in the players that come to play for us. So we quickly not paused in recruiting, but looked at exactly what our needs were, understanding where that cap was, how many are we graduating, who do we have coming in, and it was sorted. So I maybe lost like 20 minutes of sleep, where I think some coaches in America, I think, have lost a lot more sleep in trying to figure out how they're going to organize their rosters. So we have 28 in the future. And as I just mentioned, CDC being the best in the business, he's going to support every single sport to the hilt. He's doing that for us as well. And going forward, it's as many scholarship as you have. If institutions aren't given the 28, then they still have the ability to split that up in equivalency.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't stay in its full form if you want to share that.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Coach, you just brought up loyalty. How have you been affected by the transfer portal in the program? Does it affect soccer a lot, the transfer portal?
I think from what I hear out there, it does.
Love that answer.
Ooh, that's a flex right there.
Hey, okay.
I'm cozy up here.
I love that. I love that response.
Stay
Yeah,
outside in the rain.
I think if you were to ask any of my best friends, my former teammates, if they were to say, give us one quality that Ange Kelly is, I'm pretty certain that they'd all say that she's loyal. That's just something. It's not something like, oh, that's really cool, coach. That's so great that you do that every day. It's just how I'm wired. It's not that it's hard. It's really easy for me to be loyal. And
Transfer portal?
Transfer portal. In that, if you're committed to me and I'm committed to you, I'm going to develop you. I've done my homework. I've went to watch you play. You're a factor. You have a will and a desire to win. I want you to join our program. Your family's on board. Everybody's on board. We're in it. We're in it.
Let's go.
We're in it for the next 40 years.
I love it.
And I think, and this isn't a category that anybody wants to police or keep track of, but if there was a category for the women's soccer program in America to have the least amount of transfers out, I have to be winning.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
I have to be
Yes,
winning.
ma'am.
We had 4 young ladies that can I please stay for my pandemic year, right?
Wow.
And I think, like the majority of them that just graduated, they'd stay, this 5 for 5 and you get to play 5. Some of them that were leaving were like, can we come back?
Does that mean me? Am I good?
Yeah, can we come back? So yeah, I'm committed. I myself and my staff, we do our homework tirelessly in recruiting. We want to make sure the character of the individual is first and foremost. We want to be an asset to them, and they in turn understand that they have a job to do for us here at the University of Texas. It's my job to develop them into a professional, and it's their job to aspire to pursue these types of trophies. NIL, not a distraction. You're here for academics, you're here for athletics. The social piece is when you get to lift that trophy and you get to be all excited, that's your social piece.
That's your party.
That's your party.
That's what
That's your party.
turn up.
Well, I have a question, Nick, and let's keep it on this trophy because this thing is a beauty to look at.
Yes,
the lights
it
just
is.
bouncing off these things. But for Amalia to win SEC Freshman of the Year, that's an amazing accomplishment. What that tells me is that you are setting these young women up for success as soon as they step on campus. Yep. What type of support are you providing these women that allow them to reach greatness at such an early stage in their career?
Great question.
Well, I mean, we recruit them to contribute to the program. And I've never recruited a young lady and said, hey, we're going to redshirt you. I know in other sports, it's just what is necessary to happen because of the size, the development, the stature. But in our sport, I'm recruiting factors that are going to come help us win. So after as soon as I see that they're not like this in preseason and they're settled down and not overstimulated, I tell them that they're not a freshman at the University of Texas. They're a soccer player at the University of Texas. And their expectation is to contribute and to play, and when their number's called, it's their job to get it done. And Amalia was contributing fantastic. She was playing behind the best, most prolific striker in America, in Trinity Byers, right? And I would have loved to have seen what this team would have been able to do with Trinity Byers being able to play out her senior year. But that wasn't in the cards, and we had to make ourselves better. And I challenged Amalia, and specifically, I challenged her at halftime. I don't think she'd mind me speaking about this. Halftime at the SEC tournament, it's 0-0 versus LSU, and they're all sitting in the locker room, and I know that we just need to play better. And I looked at Amalia and I said, Amalia, I know you're young. You're one of the youngest in this room, but you are so much better. You are so much better. And if you play better, we will win. And there's Lexi Missimo's in the room, and there's all these people. And I just felt it compelled inside myself that I got to challenge this young lady at this moment, because she was playing within herself, and she could be playing so much bigger than herself. And I wanted to give her that freedom. And we sat down as the second half started, and I looked to my assistant, Ben, I said, well, this is going to go one of two ways. Right? Yeah. And she went out in the first, I think it's definitely the first 10 minutes, but the first 8 minutes, I think, she got a ball. She didn't look to pass it backwards. She didn't look to lay it off. She got a ball. She faced up. She went straight at the heart of the defender. Boom, boom, came inside, upper 90 goal.
Let's go.
And then, and we ended up winning. We ended up winning 3-0. So Ben goes, I think it's gonna go okay. And that was the first match where we went on to win this trophy here, which is her performance, which is a large reason why she has this trophy, and all the other coaches voted for her. So the expectation is when you get your opportunity, you take it.
Absolutely.
And I want to be the wind beneath their wings and to let them soar, opposed to, go out there, try your best, like don't make a mistake. If you're out there, you're a Texas women's soccer player, and you're supposed to be getting stuff done. Let's go win this match. Let's go get this done. And she did that.
Well, Coach, I'm going to brag on you for a second because, I got to know you a little bit, and you're one of those human beings, and I told the guys this, like, you're one of those human beings that no one ever has anything bad to say about that. You know what I mean? Everything is just so positive, so incredible, and I think, it's obvious from this interview, et cetera, like, you're a badass. Like, there's no doubt about that. No, but I think we were all blown away because Mark Hagan shared with us, I hadn't seen the Longhorn Network piece on you that has, Mia Hamm and Christine Lilly and Tisha Venturini and everybody. And to hear those people talk about you like that is that's pretty damn incredible. Like, some of the greatest players of all time. But talk about, are they involved in the team? Like, do they come down, watch practice, or come watch games? I know Mia probably does because she lives here, but do the others get down here?
Yes, they do. Actually, Tisha and Casey, her husband, their daughter is going to be a freshman playing for me.
That's awesome.
Full circle.
Sadie Hoke, tremendous player. She's going to be challenged just like I challenged Amalia, and there's no question. I'm certain that she's going to step up to the challenge. They watch. They know. And I get text messages.
I was going to say, do they try to step in too much?
No, absolutely not. To be fair, when I talked in the opening about you get to choose your family, or you don't get to choose your family, you choose your friends, and that group is my inner circle. They support me more than I could even ask for. It's always supportive. Even when I played, if I needed to be better, they weren't afraid to tell me. And they all know the game, better than almost anyone in the world. But they don't impose that. And I think because of that, we have incredibly open conversations, and I have probably the most tactical conversations with Mia, because Mia and I have traveled to World Cup finals and European finals and all these things, and watch a ton, travel around watching training sessions, and so her and I have always talked at a tactical level in nature, and I could ask any one of them, and they're going to give me their true response. But they're so supportive of our squad. They know every player. They know every goal. They know every assist.
That's got to be so cool for the team. That's like, really just cool to have those people floating around that program. It's pretty cool.
Well, a lot of times my phone will be. I try not to. It'll be here and then maybe flipped up. I try to flip it down, but I'm talking, it's never with player to player because it would be gone. But there's Mia Hamm, and then
sorry.
But then I press no, and then they're like, oh,
you just declined her.
That's another level right there.
I'm like, I'll call her back.
She's doing it. She knows
I'll call her back.
I do want to. I got one more. I know we're pressed up against time here, but you talked about the competitive spirit and the nature that you have. You talked about whenever you step on a pitch, like you got to belong, you got to be there. What's the pickleball game like? Wow, need to know.
Wow. Is it going somewhere else?
Is it the same type of impact and effect? Are you stepping on to the pickleball court like, hey, this is my court, or are you still like learning?
So I'm gonna try to remember the question early on in this conversation. It was, were you born a soccer player or were you born a competitor? Right? Yeah. And I think my answer was, you have to have a little bit of competitiveness in your soul.
Yeah, you got it.
It runs deep.
There it is.
It's in the bones.
It runs deep. If it's checkers, if it's chess, if it's something that I shouldn't even think that I should be successful in, I still think I'm going to win. And I want to win. And I'm okay. I'm a great competitor. I'm very gracious and humble in defeat. But I'm going to ask you to play again right away.
Let's go.
Right?
Let's go. We just had one of our guests on, Michael Griffin, who's an avid pickleball player.
And he's a competitor.
He's
Played
a true
him.
competitor.
Played
Okay.
him.
Tell us more.
Please, tell us more.
I need to know who won.
We need this story, please.
Daughter came to camp, and he's good.
Don't tell him that. Don't tell
I
him.
was hoping for some bad.
No, and there's actually a lot of the football players and your former teammates that are now girl dads, like really proud girl dads, right? And playing the game. And, you know, I think all of us, I think have that within us. And he's good. There's a couple of your other teammates that are also very good. Happy to play you.
Sounds like an upcoming episode.
I gotta reach the standard. I gotta be good too.
Well, to tie that back together, I can't let you out of here before. I don't know how he knows, but he somehow knew you were coming in here. And Jared Elliott gave me a call last night, and he said that I had to ask you who the best ping pong player was of all the coaches. So I've got to put that in there, and I hope you say someone else.
The best ping pong player in our hallway? Is that what he was asking?
He said in the row.
In the row. Okay, that's our hallway.
Yeah.
Him and I still have yet to play.
Oh.
Interesting.
So we need to set up.
This is a future episode. We're gonna live commentate the
live stream on
Sounds like
Thursday.
an
Longhorn
opportunity.
set up between
Now
Coach
what?
Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Coach
exactly
Elliott.
right. Okay, okay.
Yes.
Let's do that. We've been badminton partners against Coach Flo and CDC.
Okay.
That was a couple. There's some video on that. Yeah, some video on that. And pickleball. I'm gonna go out and say, Coach Elliott and I will take on anybody at this table in pickleball.
We got a lot of challenges here.
We
Got
do.
live events coming up.
Competitive first.
Right.
Oh my
I
gosh.
love that. That's great. I love the peek behind the curtain that they have these competitive matches happening in different sports.
Yes.
I love that.
Oh, and I think we had a question. It was like, I think it was to Dave O'Neill. It's like, who's the most prolific texter of all the coaches? And he didn't even hesitate. He's like, Jared Elliott.
Well, I will. I know we're going to close, but I think, and this is a credit once again to Chris Del Conte, but the cohesion within our head coach group, our WhatsApp, I know a lot of the coaches would have spoken about that. We are so incredibly tight and so supportive. I mean, men's tennis beating TCU this weekend. Coach Schaefer beating the #1 team, South Carolina. It just goes down. I mean, I hesitated right now just to even mention those two because there was lots of competitions this weekend, and I'm a fall sport, so I've taken it upon myself to be the one that kind of keeps up with everybody, and it's impossible with all the success everybody has every single day. But we're all about one another. We're all about Team Texas, and I feel incredibly blessed and grateful to be leading the women's soccer program here at the University of Texas.
We're blessed to have you.
Yeah, we're absolutely. Thank you so much for spending time with us, Coach. I know we've been excited to have this episode, and we definitely want to have you back. And you can bring some players too. We can do another episode. But we're also gonna have to take this a little on the road and do the ping pong and the pickleball challenge.
Do it.
Please.
Well, thanks so much, and hook 'em.
Welcome.
Welcome.